Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and today I went out and did some deliveries. Wasn't really many, but I used two apps. It hasn't been very many lately anyway, but I used two apps, and so two different services, delivery services. I do this for health insurance, very, very short version, and anyway, Adam was with me. He doesn't do anything but just goes. Okay, now anyway, like I said, two different. Well, one of them, there is this one place. I'm telling you, so many people act like it's such a good place to deliver. You know, one of these merchants, they call them merchants. Such a good. It's a chain restaurant, okay, and fast food. Extremely busy, very well known, and you know, people say this is a great one to deliver from. I've never found it to be, honestly. It seems like there's always some kind of problem, and it's generally with I don't know what they have a special name for this person. Okay, they have a special name for that position. It's not, you would think it would be something like manager, somewhere in between maybe. Manager and district manager, somewhere in between. I don't know. But that's the person I've always had problems with. It's supposed to be a good a restaurant where people, then generally they do. The employees, they do. Okay, the employees are really like very nice and sweet and gentle types, you know, like they should be because of the theme of their. I'm not naming it on purpose. Don't name things on purpose. But yeah, you would think that they'd be all nice and sweet, but that person in that position is generally just a total jerk and stands right there. There's more than one place I've seen this. They stand right in the middle of, like it's rush hour, and they are a very busy place. And the middle of it, and they're right there in the middle, and in the freaking way, and they can't see it. And I'm not one to make fun of anybody because of their size. I call myself a gentle giant. As a gentle giant woman, I would not be in the middle of everything while they're trying to work. Okay, I would not do it, but these do. Like they're in so much control, and they butt their noses, you know, butt themselves into stuff that they don't need to. Like today, another time, a different place. I've been there, I think, before. I think I bought something there before, and yeah, recently, and I don't know if I don't think I've ever picked up from there, but it was like, who are you? What had happened was, they claimed it was the whatever that position is. You know, I guess the people working there, they couldn't find it. They told her. She came up. And just kind of, I mean, like I say, doesn't match the rest of the staff. They're very helpful, very nice and sweet and gentle, and she's just all rough. You know, just rah, 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 that kind of person. And she told me that they didn't have that order, that they never received it. And I showed her on my phone what it was. And she said, no, you need to call. And with an attitude like that, don't you dare tell me something like that. And she said, you need to call. I did not tell her anything like that. I had not said anything like that. And I said, so you didn't receive it? And she said, no, you need to call. And the app, you know, the service, and have them fix it because we didn't get it. I said, no, you need to call. My job is to pick up and deliver. You need to call. You didn't get something on your machine. You don't have the order. I said, so I don't need to call. She said, we don't call them. I said, I don't either. And I walked out. I mean, I didn't raise my voice real loud or anything. I just flat out told her, This is how it is, period. It's not my job. I mean, they're not getting their apps on the machines that they have with that company. Okay, some kind of glitch happened. I'm not going to sit there and figure out their glitch and fix it, or call them and say, hey, y'all have to come and fix it and have to do her job for her. That's her job. No, seriously, if anybody, I'm not hurting for money, so I can tell them, how the cow ate the cabbage. I've done it. I just walk off. I said, screw, I don't say screw you. I just, like, another one that happened, it was on a different app today, to a different service. And this was my bad because I don't use that one very often. And it could have been a year by now since I've used that app. And, so I did just cancel that, by the way. I don't care. My cancellation rate right now, it was 3%. It was 3. I had 3 that I canceled. Okay, and the fourth one just rolled off. So now I have 4 again. So what? Big deal. I don't care. I'm not hard up for money. It's not about the money. It's that I have to prove to the government that I'm working and I'm making some money, working so I can get this affordable care, health care insurance. And it's nothing to do with me. I have to prove that I make some money, but I wanted to pay for it straight out, and they said you can't do that. We have to do it this way. Okay, I'm not an expert on it, so don't take my word on it. But anyway, I'm telling these people, like I told Adam, I have all these health conditions. I said, what, at this time of my life, it could be the end of my life. I don't know, I don't think so, but, so I'm not gonna, why would I let people like that? What am I gonna, the boss is gonna be mad at me. There's no boss. I'm an independent contractor. I'm my boss. And these people, they think they're gonna speak to me this way? Who do you think you are? Really? And then the next one, I went there, and it's on one that me, of course, have to call, some of the orders I have to call in. And I have said this before, that I used this one time last year. I don't know how many times I've used it, but every time that I've ever used it, there's a problem with them. And I've said that repeatedly, that it seems like this is the app people use when they've gotten kicked off the bigger ones. Because they were probably, doing whatever they could to claim that they didn't get their order, that kind of thing. Like the one woman, she called me. I was trying to deliver, and she called me and was giving me the wrong direction to get to her house over the phone. And I just stopped listening to her and paid attention to the app. So I actually reported her for that too. She was purposefully doing it. Then she started saying, well, you're so late. And she lived in a place where it was not exactly a cul-de-sac. It was 2 roads that blended right there. But the GPS had a hard time with it because it was 2 different names of roads. And like I said, it was somewhat like a cul-de-sac, but not. And so she was taking advantage of that situation, saying, oh, they delivered to the wrong place, or they this. I just could tell she was, that kind. But so many of them I could tell stories, and I did in the past. But they were just people who, I really think they were the problem childs. They had no other app to turn to, so they turned to this one, because every one of them has been bad. I don't know how many I've done, but every one of them, I do not remember ever having an easy time with any of them. Can you imagine that? So, but they pay better. That's important. They pay better. Okay, where was I? I had to go home, run home for a little bit. I'm actually right in the middle of a bit of a crisis situation. Seriously, but I would prefer to be doing this because of the heart failure and everything, just talking about something else. Seriously. Oh my goodness. But anyway, where was I? I was talking. I mean, life is weird when you can actually say something like that and just move on. There's nothing I can do to change the situation, so there's nothing I can do at all about it. It is what it is, kind of thing. But anyway, I wanted to be out making videos instead. You know, I've noticed a lot of people lately having little crisis situations and they can't do anything about. And they're doing their best. And so, anyway, to move on to this other one, this other delivery. I was talking about the app that I think that all the people who are the problem childs have to go to, and I cannot remember ever having one that didn't have a problem. I even had one when some delivery person actually, you know, he had part of the order and I had the other part of the order, and he showed up. We showed up at the same time. I don't know him. I never seen him before in my life. Never saw him again. But he thought I would go ahead and deliver for him his order, his part of the order. I did not. What nerve! You know, there's stuff like that, and some of them, like there was one that was a delivery they were having a festival. It was a mall that's strange. It's not like any mall I've ever seen. It's an outdoor mall, but it was not like any, like I said, at all. And they were having a festival right in the middle of it on a Friday. Okay, Friday dinner time. What a mess. And then I had to walk all the way down to it was a down and then all the way back up. I'm just going to say it as though it was a long place to park and have to do. And then I got there and I did not have which is my bad, I did not have my card to pay for it. You know, from the app, from the delivery service. I just said no. I got back to my car and I said no, because there was no place to park as it was. I finally found one. It was as it turned out, I thought it was connected, but it wasn't. Oh, just a mess. But there's so many different problems, and most of them had, you know, there was no warning. And I actually spoke to someone through the app and was told that I should not have canceled that order. There was nothing else you could do but cancel. And I just flat out told him it was. I don't think it wasn't over the phone. It was in type. I said, you need to warn people that this is a situation. There'll be no parking. You'll have to walk far a distance up and down a hill to get an order in a very busy place. They need to give some warning. And I'm telling you, in each and every one of them, like the woman that she apparently tried. I called and told them. So look, she was trying to get her food for free, obviously. I don't have a problem. I'm not mean. I don't have to raise my voice. I don't have to cuss like some people think that's that cool. No, that's just kind of low down. No, you don't have to cuss. I'm just stern. Period. This is how it is. Period. I don't play with these games that people play. Flat out, no. You know, I call it as I see it. Period. And some people might not like that. I don't care. I really don't. This is my life. You're messing with it. You think I'm gonna... This was not the first time of that same chain that they tried to get me to do their job. Not that same place, a different one. Like, no. So anyway, then there came this one on this other app, like I'm talking about, that I think all the problem childs go to. Yeah. Okay, so as it is, it's one of those I was saying earlier, you know, that you call in. Sometimes they've already ordered the food, you just go pick it up and drop it off. But sometimes, and I don't understand why, but we have to call the business and order the food to be prepared. So when we get there, it's ready and we just take it. Why can't the customer do that? I don't know. Maybe the customer orders it somehow differently, and then in order to us to get our tip, they have to reroute it, and then we have to call it, and we have to go pick it up or go there. Well, this one, I tried more than one way to call the business, and they don't allow people to call and place orders. It blocks it. I was like, oh my goodness, you know, but I wanted to get this one because I haven't used it in like a year and I don't want to lose it, you know. And so it was a good pay for what it was. It was a pretty good pay. It was close to 13 or something for it. Well, I thought it would be, but it became a lot of trouble. I'm serious. The order itself, not the customer. The customer was not the problem. It was the merchant, their phone, their way of doing it. They would not allow people to call. So to go there, and it's I'd never heard of the place before, never. Apparently it's been around for a long, long years. They have a few, but it's a kind of a little bit on the fancy side. Not really. As it turned out, it was kind of more like fast food, but in a nice place, or something like that. And anyway, it took so long, not for them to even make it, because they had it made by the time I went to the restroom, came back out. You know, but ordering it, the guy kept, the first guy asked another guy to help me, and what I didn't figure out at first, because I was confused by what he was saying to me. And finally I looked at him and I said, you know, I can get to this point and that makes more sense. I looked at him and I said, you do know this is not for me, right? Because he would say, what is your name? I said, it was not for me. It's, the name is, and I told the name, I spelled it. It was a man's name. He's looking at me, and I'm female, obviously. And, you know, but some of the things he was saying was like, well, do you want lettuce on that? And I said, I'm reading you what they have put in, what they want, and I don't see anything about any lettuce. I was very nice, not like it just sounded, but very nice. And he kept doing it, and at one point I'm like, I'm starting to get stern and starting to laugh at the same time. And I'm saying, how would I know what the customer wants this, that? I said, I'm reading you everything the customer puts in. He could not figure out that this was not my order. And how would he know when I say the customer, you know, stuff like this, the customer, and showed him the app more than once, saying, see, this is what they wrote, you know, on the app. And he could say, oh, she must have done it on some, no, you know, some people that work with her or something. What? But what it is, they didn't know that app. They said they have never even heard of that app before. Really? You know, I mean, that's the most confusing thing. But I kind of started laughing at the end, because I mean, if I'm standing there, a person is standing in front of you, says the customer ordered, and I'm reading off of the app, and it says the app and the name. You would think the person would connect, and you would think I would connect it. They're not getting it. I mean, I was trying to figure out what's wrong with this place. I was looking to see, how do I cancel it? There was no way to cancel it. And I remember from that time before, there's no way to cancel these, but just, I mean, it took a lot that I think I had to type it to them and say, cancel it. You know, before. They said, there's no reason to cancel. I said, well, you have somebody else go get it. And they didn't get rid of me. Anyway. I mean, but this time, it was just so funny to me. At some point, it was like, oh my goodness. You know, because they kept asking me. The guy, you know, it was two guys. One of them, he walked away to help other people. They were slammed with orders and all. And this guy, I don't know if he was new. I don't think he was. I think he was a manager. He was dressed different than the rest of them. And he just wasn't getting it. And I just wasn't getting I was getting that he was confused. But I kept saying, well, this is what the, this is what the app is, and so forth and so on. I guess he was just stunned. So, but anyway, I went and delivered it easily, but it was, once I finally got it, and the distance was like 7 something, almost 8 miles. And it still paid good, for what it was, because it wasn't too far. But anyway, that was my kind of day. And then to have, one of these, another crisis day, crises, plural. You never know. Okay, now while I'm talking about this, it's kind of getting dark. I mean, you can't tell here, but there was a woman, a very young woman, and she's on her cell phone. She's not really paying attention. See, I was raised when there weren't cell phones, and we were taught to pay a lot of attention to your environment, as females, and to know what's going on around you. Don't be distracted by anything. If you're like out walking and such, like this woman is. And I just immediately, when I saw her come up on the sidewalk, and it's so dark, right next to me is woods, and I'm looking at them when I'm talking, okay? But I immediately felt like a fear for her, because she's on her cell phone and she's not paying attention. Seriously. Okay, I should also say that this is following yesterday, I think it was, when there was a man. It's kind of creepy. It was creepy. Don't say kinda, it was creepy. He was walking next to those woods. On one side of the woods is an elementary school. The other side is a park. I've never seen anybody walk between those two, next to the woods or come out of the woods like that. And it was a man by himself, and it was kind of creepy. Like I said, I should stop doing that. It was creepy. And so that's just following that. So, you can see why I'm saying she wasn't paying attention to her environment. It's getting dark. It's the woods there was a log, what do they call, log teepee kind of thing in there that I guess the city got rid of. Whenever I saw it right after all the leaves were down during winter, and they got rid of it, like I said. Oh boy. But that just, like I said, just a fear for her came over me. Weird. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.